What is crowdfunding? If you're watching this video, chances are you're probably thinking about becoming involved in crowdfunding, either as an investor or as a business owner who might be looking for funding. So I'm going to tell you not only what crowdfunding is from the legal perspective, but also give you a few of the high points of what you'll need to look into and what you'll need to know moving forward. I'm Mark Lyda from Lyda Law Firm. Let's get started. So the word crowdfunding has apparently been around only since 2006, but the concept of crowdfunding has lasted for hundreds or thousands of years. It's been used to fund public works projects, to help people start businesses, to help people, other members of the community in various ways. It's just the concept of pooling community resources to fund a particular endeavor or project. Now we know it as crowdfunding, and it has really gained steam in recent years because of two things. One, technology has increased so that we can do it. We can fund projects and get information out there in a really efficient way through the internet. But also the legal regulations have caught up to the technology. The Jobs Act of 2012 and then the regulations that came about in subsequent years to implement the Jobs Act really allowed the concept of crowdfunding to flourish. Before the Jobs Act, only accredited investors, meaning high net worth individuals, about the top 10% of the population in terms of wealth, only those accredited investors could invest in businesses outside of the stock market. The rest of the population was left to invest in companies only through the stock market, which, by the way, is its own form of crowdfunding. With those technological advances, the law had to catch up, and so the Jobs Act really cut through a lot of the red tape that small businesses would have to go through in order to solicit and accept investments from people other than accredited investors. And it also allowed companies to reach into other states without having to register individually in every state to accept investments in those states. So it cut out a lot of red tape. It lowered the threshold for who could invest, and it also raised the threshold for how much companies could accept and how much money companies could raise through this method. So it really made it a lot more feasible. Okay, so that's what crowdfunding is, but what do you really need to know if you're thinking about becoming involved in crowdfunding? One thing you need to know is there are different types of crowdfunding. There's peer-to-peer lending, which is like the money is paid back, it's lending. There is community-based, or also known as donation-based crowdfunding. That might be more like something you'd see on a GoFundMe page for somebody who, is facing some sort of hardship or medical bills or something like that. That's donation crowdfunding. And then there is the small business investment type of crowdfunding. There are a few types of that. I'd break it roughly into two categories. One is promise for future goods. So that's the type of crowdfunding where maybe, if you invest in my movie, I'll give you a couple passes to the grand premiere or something like that. Or then there is equity fundraising. So there's a promise for future goods, or there's equity crowdfunding, meaning you actually get shares in the company and you participate in future profits and so forth. So you need to know those types of crowdfunding, and you need to know which is the right fit for you. We'll do another video that goes into more of the pros and cons of each of those types of crowdfunding. You also need to know the basic regulations. This is a heavily regulated environment. The SEC and lots of state laws govern how this crowdfunding can take place. There are different regulations for different types of crowdfunding. And so it's important that you know how the law protects you, what you have to do to comply with the law, and you need to know where the law might not protect you and you're on your own and you need to do your own due diligence and that sort of thing. So knowing the types of crowdfunding, knowing the basic regulations, and knowing some of the potential mistakes to avoid. Those are the things you have to think about before you become involved in crowdfunding. But crowdfunding can be a great thing if done in the right way and done thoughtfully, both for the investors and for businesses. Thanks for watching. Please remember to click like and subscribe to help keep legal education accessible for small business owners. And also check out our podcast. It's about mentorship, and we have great guests in every episode. It's called Coffee, Lunch, Beer, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts.